So let's practice replication on Amazon S3. For this, we're going to create a new bucket. I'll call it S3 Stéphane bucket origin v2. And I will set it in one region that I want, for example, EU West 1. This will be my origin bucket, and then data will be replicated from this bucket to another bucket. So the thing I need to do, of course, is to enable versioning, because replication only works if versioning is enabled. So I will create this bucket, and then open this bucket in a new tab. And I will create a second bucket, and this will be my target bucket. So I will do S3 Stéphane bucket replication, replica v2. And this time the region can be either the same. For example, if you wanted to do same region replication, or something completely different. For example, if you wanted the US, you could do US East 1 to replicate from Europe to the US. Okay, so let's scroll down and let's again enable bucket versioning on the target buckets. And we're good to go. So now we have our primary bucket and our secondary bucket. What I'm going to do is that in the origin bucket, I'm going to upload a file. So I will add a file of my beach, for example, beach.jpg. Okay, this is done and we can close this. So now this has one file, but of course, this does not get replicated yet because we haven't set up replication yet. So let's go ahead and do this. So on the origin bucket, what I need to do is to go under management, scroll down, and there are replication rules, currently 0. So let's go ahead and create our first replication rule. So I'll call this one demo replication rule. Okay, perfect. We'll set it as enabled. For the source bucket, we'll leave it as is, and in terms of rule scope, we'll apply it to all objects in the bucket. Now for the destination, we can specify a bucket in this account or another account, and we'll choose one in this account. And the bucket name is my target bucket. So I need to actually enter the name. So I will take this bucket right here, copy and paste it. Okay. And as you can see, the destination region was identified as being US East 1. So therefore, this is a cross-region replication. Okay. Now for IAM role, we need to actually go and create a new role for this. So here's the option. And then we can have a look at some settings, but for now, it doesn't really matter for us. Let's just save this. So we get a prompt right here, which says, do you want to replicate existing objects? So it turns out that when you do enable replication, it will only replicate objects from the moment you set it. So for newer uploads. So if you wanted to replicate the previous objects from the source to the destination bucket, you could use something called a batch operation, an S3 batch operation to do so. And you would need to say, yes, replicate existing objects. But this is separate from the replication feature itself. Therefore, I'm going to say no, do not replicate existing objects, and we're good to go. So now let's have a look. So we have this management with a replication rule that is ready. And now what I'm going to do is check in my replica bucket. Of course, if I refresh now, we see that the objects haven't been replicated. So what I'm going to do is now upload a new file. For example, upload the coffee.jpg file, upload it. We're done. So here is the coffee.jpg file. Let's show the version. So this is coffee.jpg and the version is GBK. Okay, perfect. Now if we go in my target bucket and refresh this, it's going to take maybe 5 seconds. And this took about 10 seconds on the first replication, but we can see that my coffee.jpg has been added into my replica bucket. And if I show the versions, we can see that the version ID of my coffee.jpg is the exact same of the origin bucket. So the versions IDs are replicated, which is great. And if I wanted to port the beach.jpg, I would need to upload a new version of that file. So let's upload beach.jpg again. Now this has been uploaded. We can look at the version. So there's a new version right here of DK2 of my beach.jpg file. And now if I go here and refresh, and this took a bit of time, but as you can see, you can find the DK2 version of that file. So that's it for S3 bucket replication. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.